Report to the front there, and then they'll bring them over to sign on.
Seatbelt cutters. Seat armrest. Seat's okay. Seat. Arm restraints or nets? Fire extinguisher. First aid kit. Okay, time.
The Pines Enduro has been running for 40 years. It's a state round for South Australia and it's the fourth and final round of the ARB Off-Road Racing Series for 2016. The format this weekend, we'll see Prologue run here on Saturday. After the Prologue, the competitors will do 3 laps of the course in a short course component in groups of 10. After the completion of Saturday, the results will be compiled and a competitor's fastest single lap from the Prologue and the 3 laps of the short course will determine their start position for Sunday. The total distance of Saturday and Sunday will be 438 kilometres. At the end of the weekend, the results will all be put together and will be worked out on total distance and total time. The track is a traditional Pines Enduro track. The track changes out in the pine forest depending on where the forest company is working and where they're logging from. It's a very sandy soil. Track starts here in Teagle's quarry, runs out through some public roads to get to the pine forest and Mount Burr, back across another public road, back into the quarry and round through the finish line. The Pines is unique in its character of an event in the fact that it's got long, fast, sandy straights, and typically in a pine forest you go down through what's called a pine break, turn left or turn right, down through another pine break, and that's the character of the Pines Enduro. The Pines Enduro event and track is a real challenging environment. It can catch competitors out as the day goes on. As you count down the laps, the track gets heavier and heavier because the sand becomes softer and softer. Corners get really rough. The unpredictability of it can catch people out. People become complacent and get caught out by the corners or by a pine tree. If we're unlucky enough to get rain, depending on the amount, it could have an impact on the event, but let's hope that we don't get to that point.
The wet and dreary conditions in the southeast corner of South Australia have continued. We've had a great prologue with some fantastic action, but the worsening conditions have meant that racing for the day has been brought to a stop. Let's go and grab some competitors and find out a little bit more about today's action so far. How was the prologue run for you this morning?
It was good. We had a few mishaps, a couple of 360s, managed to keep going, so it wasn't ideal, but yeah, it was fun.
tell us what the conditions were really like out there.
It was just ridiculous. That was the most skatey we've ever seen it. You touch the brakes and you're just a passenger. So I think we were doing 147k down the back straight, which is probably almost a kilometre long when it was sideways the whole way.
There's not much you could really do out there besides just try and keep it smooth and stay on the track. It's just trying to keep it smooth. I could see a couple of people before it were trying a bit hard and lost it in corners and just trying to keep the flow going, and it seemed to work. We're in a decent position, but yeah.
How tough are the conditions out there? We see a lot of cars shooting off the corners.
Yeah, there's a few big mud holes in a few of the corners. Most of it through the stadium wasn't too bad. It's just a couple of corners where you just could not get the car turned in.
Coming out of Prologue, there were some tough decisions that you had to make.
It was a group decision by the organising committee, but at the end of the day, I suppose the buck stops with me because I've got to consider the safety and the health and well-being of all the competitors out there.
If one turns sideways in the wet, you're just going to T-bone them, and it's not about you're going to get wet. It gets dangerous.
Look, I think it's the right decision. No one ever wants to not race, but obviously it's dangerous. There's a fair bit of money tied up in equipment, and also if you get bogged, it's just going to be a nightmare. So I think they've made the right decision.
Anything you need to do to the vehicle this afternoon?
Giving it a quick clean so we'll actually be able to see what we need to do now with all the mud's off it, so we'll have a good look over it.
So even though racing was stopped today, why are you still continuing tomorrow?
And we're comfortable continuing tomorrow. We've looked at the weather forecast. There's less than 1 mil of rain predicted, and even that bit of rain tomorrow won't hurt the conditions in the pine forest. The pine forest is predominantly sandy and the water doesn't pool in the pine forest, and the track will be quite passable.
Well done on making the right decision. Thanks, Murray.
Yeah, it was a tough one, but we've got to think of everybody.
The Pines has lived up to its reputation that it's a car breaker, and 62 cars started this morning. I think only about 30 odd will finish this event, and it just claims that just the amount of sand that is out in those pine tracks. Just hard on gearboxes, hard on everything.
Remember, there's only 21 seconds between those two guys.
It's 70k laps, so you do just over 420 odd k's out in the pine forest. So there is a lot of k's to be done. And of course you've got over 60 cars, but every lap it does change. So what would be this lap be nice and smooth, the next lap it will have all big rutty and big cut up areas, and so it does take the torch on cars. Well, it's a credit to the crews and that have set up these cars to take the punishment of this course.
The quality of the field that we have here of the 60 odd cars is very good. The preparation, the equipment is exceptional these days in off-road racing. It seems that everybody is stepping up, spending megabucks of dollars trying to put the best car that they can put together to get a result, and obviously have fun at an off-road race as well. The Pines Enduro is the last round of the ARB Off-Road Racing Series for 2016. At this point in time, there are 7 competitors that have a mathematical chance of taking out the series. Troy Duff is the current leader of the series, followed closely a few points behind by Daniel Wells, and in third place is Simon Leach. But there are 4 other competitors that can potentially take out a win if any of those first 3 have a monumental failure for the weekend. The ARB Off-Road Racing Series this year has shown that you not necessarily have to have the fastest and most biggest powerful car, but you need to be consistent and to finish events. That's the format of off-road racing, is to finish to get a result. And that shows up in the fact that the current leader is a Prologue buggy, and the next two are two Super 1650s, which is a really good effort on their part. The current point score for the ARB series makes it possible for most competitors to have a really good chance of winning, but as I said before, you need to be consistent. We've got a good field of cars here this weekend. We've got 60 plus cars with a good cross section across all the classes. The largest class at the moment is the Super 1650 class, but there is a good representation of Pro and Pro Light buggies and even the extreme four-wheel drives. We also have 3 Super Lights here this weekend racing as well. They'll do well in the conditions here, I believe.
Track now pretty cut up, and some of those cars will struggle to get through some of the big holes that these bigger cars have dug out. So we could be here for another half an hour just waiting on some of those cars that come through, and I'm sure the crowd will stick around and cheer them all home.
It's going to go down to the absolute wire. From an event organiser's point of view, and anyone who works on the ground here, it's actually quite difficult to keep a track of the racing.
Considering what it was like yesterday, it was actually really good. There was heaps of grip. The sand soaks it up really nicely.
Yeah, they got rough. The corners got really rugged. Easy to break a car in the last couple of laps if you throttle out too hard.
Our leader coming into this round is out. He broke on about the 3rd lap and can't finish. Then 2nd, 3rd and 4th. 2nd and 3rd have both had problems. Both have dropped a lap, but they've repaired their issues and they're both still out on the track. It's quite extraordinary.
Troy had to finish this event to claim it, but unfortunately a car issue has parked him on the side of the road, and unfortunately it's just motor racing. We all know it, it's the ups and downs. You have those days where you would rather not get out of bed, and unfortunately Troy Duff's had one of those days.
It's absolutely devastating, to be honest. We try so hard all year, but that's off-road racing, I guess.
Heart goes out. I mean, we've all been there before when you're sort of out there winning, and he's a top competitor.
Everyone was awesome. Everyone, we radioed ahead, they all pulled over and it was really good, and then Matt overshot a couple of corners, so it was really great. I got to overtake him while he was in reverse.
Rana was like a fly that wouldn't go away all day. What a sensational drive by him. We were looking in our mirrors all day. He was there all day. I think we caught him at a certain point in time and we got past him, and then he just followed us for the rest of the day.
I knew that we weren't going to go from last to first, in a lap, so we just had to keep working at it. And then I think Jack got a flat tyre road, so that moved us up another spot. So yeah, we're a bit lucky there.
There's been a number of breakages, a lot of vehicles out during today's racing. It's quite late in the day, but we've got Marty Scott coming in now over the finish line. If he makes it over the finish line, he's won enough points to take out the ARB Off-Road Racing Series for 2016. And that's Marty Scott, he's across the finish line. We're pretty sure that makes him right up there on points to take out the ARB Off-Road Racing Series for 2016.
On the last row this morning, taking off, and I thought, it's going to be a long day, but it's been fantastic.
So how do you go about developing an international team, the preparation you've got to put into this?
Buy a fast car off an Aussie guy. You cheat the system and buy a fast car.
Matt and Matthew, congratulations. You've got to be wrapped with the performance this weekend.
Yeah, no, we've had a really great run. We couldn't be happier, especially after last year's big accident. So to come back here and end up on top was great. It's an addiction, off-road racing. I love the family part of it. I love that you do it with your friends. Your competitors are your friends. It's a great event, wheel-to-wheel racing. It's an awesome race. It's been going since the beginning of time and hopefully continues on forever as well.